So this is popular book series and my honest, genuine opinion on them. I'm going to start off with the ACOTAR series because when I first started on Booktok, they were everywhere and everyone was telling me to read them, but once I did, I really liked the first two, but by the time I got to the third book, I was so bored and it took me like a month to finish it. Overall, I liked parts of it, but it wasn't anything special, like 3 out of 5 stars. Next up is We Were Liars, which the first time I read it, I absolutely loved it. I could not put it down. 5 out of 5 stars. I feel like it's that kind of book you can only read once though, but I still loved it and I still think it is a great book. I'm running out of time, so lastly we have They Both Die at the End, and I still rave about this book even though I read it a year ago. I just think that the concept, the writing, the characters are all incredible, but it was a bit predictable because of the title. I don't know, I just gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Time coming, don't you let me fall. Open your lips and just hold your tongue. Girl, your kiss is deadly, don't stop. I love it when you
had a number of people request a video about low fantasy, so let me really quickly show you as many of my favorite low fantasy books as I can. Low fantasy are books with fantastical elements, but they're clearly set in our world, so they don't have all the world building that a lot of people really struggle with. First up is The Night Circus. This is an oldie, but oh my god, so good. Magic, circuses, and a great romance. 10,000 Doors of January is one of my all-time favorite books. It is one of the most beautifully written books I've ever read, and it's a portal fantasy about a girl that can open doors into other worlds. Every Heart a Doorway is a slim little thing, first in a series, although it is a standalone, and it is a powerful book with a punch about children that have been to other worlds and what happens when they try to come back to our world. So Dark and Lonely. Oh, this book is so good. It is the best Beauty and the Beast retelling I have ever read. First in a series. This one does have a lot of elements that are in another world, but the world building is so seamless that you will not struggle with it, I promise. Historian. This is the most literary vampire novel you will ever read. It's so good. Light Between Worlds is another fantastic portal fantasy. This one is about children who go to a Narnia-like place, and they grow up, have fantastic adventures, and then what happens when they come home and are children again in our world. The Nightingale, first in a series, fantastic book with Russian folklore, really different. Lucy Crispin, The Vanishing House. This one is so much fun. It's about a girl who moves to a town where the witches are very much real. And honestly, the best thing about this book is that the author did the illustrations. So check out how beautiful the inside of this book is.
I sense there's something in the wind that seems like tragedies in hand, and though I'd like to stand by him, can't shake this feeling that I have. The worst is just around the bend, and does he notice my
Part 2 to sharing thriller books I really enjoyed reading. Part 1 is the top 5 favorite thriller books that I read last year, so if you missed it, definitely go check it out. First one is Before She Knew Him by Peter Swanson. Hen and her husband Lloyd move into a suburban house. They meet the couple next door. They go over for dinner. She notices a piece of evidence that was connected to a killing that happened years ago, and she thinks she's living next to a murderer. Everyone talks about The Silent Patient, but it's because it's really good. If you don't know, this woman kills her husband and then goes silent, doesn't speak a word, and a psychotherapist is convinced to get her to talk and figure out what happened. The guest list, I don't know if it's because I'm about to get married and that's why I really like this book. Basically, there is a wedding on this island and someone ends up getting murdered and you have no idea who did it. Then She Was Gone was really good, but the end's kind of emo, just a little warning. This woman's daughter goes missing, and then years later, she starts dating this guy who has a younger daughter who has odd similarities that resemble the woman's daughter who went missing. This is a good starter book for people who want to get into reading. It's called The Couple Next Door. Baby gets kidnapped.